Hey there, this is Amelia here. Welcome to Amelia's crossdressing story. Today we are going to share a story called Trip to Paris Part 10. By Teddy. For more interesting and exclusive stories, please subscribe to my channel and support me at Patreon. Ronnie and Jason/Jamie, carrying their drinks, followed the maitre d' into the restaurant area. He led them right past where Mrs. Reynolds and Mrs. Carver were sitting with their husbands. Jason/Jamie became nervous again. They acknowledged each other as they walked past the table, and they heard Mrs. Carver say, "Two such tall and pretty girls. Jason is a lucky boy." The maitre d' helped both Ronnie and Jason with their seats, and left them with menus. They enjoyed a nice dinner, with Jason/Jamie realizing that he had to eat small portions so the waist cincher wouldn't get any tighter. They just chatted like two friends, with Jason/Jamie whispering his part. As they were walking back to the car, Ronnie asked, "Are you all right?" "I was nervous as hell in there, especially with the Reynolds and Carvers. But I'm feeling okay. Not completely relaxed, but all right." "When did you plan this dinner thing?" "Right after you hit me with the makeover. I figured that I could talk you into going out afterwards if you looked as good as I thought that you might. And if it didn't turn out good, we could have just gone home. After seeing what Linda did, I'm glad I did it. You really did well in there. And, playing with your hair, where did you learn that? I should be really mad at you for pulling this. And, I was about ready to run out of there when I saw Mrs. Reynolds. But, I would have had to have gone right past her. I'm glad you were thinking clearer than I was." "I was playing with my hair?" "Yes. Just like a girl would do. Want to go someplace?" "Where?" "We have time to get you something before they close." "Where?" "You'll see." In about 15 minutes, they were pulling into a large strip mall and into a parking place in front of Kathy's bridal boutique. Jason/Jamie looked at Ronnie and said, "What are we doing here? Remember what Linda said about black under things?" "Yeah. Good place to get them. This is where I got your cincher." "But, in black?" "At a bridal shop." As Ronnie was getting out of the car, she answered, "Sure. Not every bride wears white under her gown. Come on." Jason/Jamie without hesitation got out of the car and started to follow Ronnie into the store. Ronnie stopped, turned, looked at Jason/Jamie, and said, "Remember just a little smile. It adds to the look. And you got out of the car just like a lady should." There were a few customers in the store and 3 clerks. As they walked in, they were greeted by a pleasant middle-aged woman, and she asked, "Is there anything that I can help you with?" Ronnie replied, "My friend is looking for a few things. Do you mind if we look around?" "Not at all, my dear. If you need any help, my name is Dorothy." "Thank you." Ronnie and Jamie started looking around the store. Ronnie had purchased the waist cincher here and knew where they were. But she thought it would be fun to look around. She watched Jason as they looked at very intimate items of clothes, bras, panties, garter belts, corsets, and nylons. Not only in white, but pinks, yellows, black, and other colors. Jamie was a little standoffish in looking at the intimate things. Ronnie whispered, "You're a girl. You can touch these now without anyone thinking anything about it." They wandered into the part of the building where the wedding gowns, bridesmaid dresses, and formals were. Again, Ronnie, with a smile, was watching Jamie's reaction. At about 8:45, Dorothy announced that the store would be closing soon. So, Ronnie guided Jamie back over to the intimate section and easily found the waist cincher in black, with a matching thang, as well as a pretty black satin bra, and took them to the counter where Dorothy was checking out another customer. When it was Ronnie and Jamie's turn, Dorothy said, "I'm glad you found what you were looking for." "Yes," Ronnie said, "you have a very nice shop, with some very nice things. And you'll have to excuse my friend, she has a bad case of laryngitis." Looking at Jamie, Dorothy said, "Poor dear. You need to take better care of yourself." Then looking at Ronnie, she said, "Thank you, my dear." As they got into the car, Ronnie said, "You passed in there with flying colors. I told you that you could do it." After they were back home, Ronnie walked up to Jamie, took her face in her hands, looked her in the eyes, kissed her, and said, "All right, lover. Now, explain." "Explain what?" "Why you were so nervous the first time you took me out. I thought you'd forgotten about that." "Not me, lover." "So, tell." "All right. Even though you told me that you wanted me to take you out, I really felt that you were way out of my league. You were so pretty, and so sophisticated. I figured that I didn't have a snowball's chance in hell with you. That's one of the reasons that I never asked you out, until you said something. I just figured that we were friends, and nothing more. And that you weren't interested in me. Even though we studied together, and things. I was so nervous when I picked you up to go to that movie, that I almost chickened out." "You are kidding me?" "No. I came very close to not picking you up that afternoon. My heart was in my throat when I walked up to your door. I just couldn't believe that you really wanted to go out with me. Honey. I don't believe this. And, you know, not picking you up that day would have been the biggest mistake in my life. I would have missed out on being with the person that has become the most important thing in my life. You're going to make me cry and mess up my makeup. I think mine is already a mess." Jamie looked up at Ronnie, and her mascara was running down her cheeks. Ronnie wiped away her tears and kissed her again. "You know," Ronnie said, "it feels weird kissing someone with that much lipstick on. And lips that are so full." "No, it doesn't. It feels good. And you have the most kissable lips." And Jamie kissed her. It wasn't long before they were removing each other's clothing. They didn't bother with removing their makeup or Jamie's wig. And this ended up being the most intense love-making session of their marriage. Sunday morning, Ronnie was cuddled up as usual with Jason. But something wasn't right. There was strawberry blonde hair in her face. Then she remembered last night and smiled to herself. A while later, as they were getting up, Ronnie said, "Girlfriend, your hair is a mess." "Huh? You still have the wig on, and it's a shambles. And you slept in your makeup." Jason felt his head, smiled, and said, "I'm surprised that it's still on. That was some evening, you little sneak. Linda did a good job. And you enjoyed it. Didn't you?" "Well, most of it." "What didn't you enjoy?" "I know, the part after we got home. That was the best part." "No, it was running into Mrs. Reynolds and Mrs. Carver." "I can understand that. But you were great. And I told you that no one would read you. I only hope that Mrs. Reynolds doesn't say anything to your mom about meeting Jamie." "Oh, God. They talk all the time." "Don't worry. If she says something, we'll handle it then." "Easy for you to say. She probably won't say a word about it." "I hope. You know, you were so cute when we were in the bridal shop. I was watching you, and you were in heaven. The look on your face, as you looked at all the things in that shop, was to say the least, amazing. I wish I'd had a camera. It was that obvious. It was to me. It was almost like a child in a candy shop." Ronnie and Jason were having dinner with his parents that evening. And the wig that Jason had worn was only rented, and they had to return it. So, on the way to his parents' house, they made the trip back to the changing scene to return it. Linda was at the counter and was happy to see Ronnie and Jason again and asked, "How did things go last night?" Jason rolled his eyes, as Ronnie said, "It went great." And then she went on to give Linda the details of the evening. After Ronnie was done, Linda said, "You two really had some fun. I wish I could have been there." "Jason, how did it feel to be out like that?" "Really scary at first," Jason replied. "I felt like a guy in a dress. And I thought that's how everyone was seeing me. But no one was paying that much attention to us. Other than to look and smile. I never thought that in a million years that I could ever go out dressed, let alone pass like that. And, after a while, it wasn't like I was fooling people, but it was just like being someone out for an evening with a friend. I did think that I was going to die when Ronnie took me to the ladies' room. And then seeing my parents' next-door neighbor. I should be mad at Ronnie for pulling that on me. The more he relaxed, Ronnie, with a big smile, added, the more fun he was to be with. And I could see more of his feminine side. I shouldn't have done that to him. But, after seeing how good he looked when you were done, it would have been a waste to not show him off. I'm glad I did. It was a fun evening. Jason, I told you it was all in the attitude. If you think you pass, you will. You don't have a wig, do you? Linda asked. No. That was the first time that I'd ever worn one. I can make you a really good deal on that one. It's a human hair wig, and a really good one. I can give it to you for cost. Jason looked at Ronnie. And Ronnie said, Love, it's you. As they were having dinner that evening, Jason's mom said, Oh. Mrs. Reynolds sends her love. And said that it was really nice to see Ronnie and her friend at the fireside last night. Jason nearly chalked. But Ronnie covered with, that was Jamie. You met her at our wedding. Unfortunately, she was only in town for a few hours, so we just had a girls' night out, or I would have brought her over. That's nice, dear. Mrs. Reynolds said that Jamie, was a very tall, pretty girl. Yes. She's even a little taller than I am. With that, the subject was dropped. And on the way home, Jason said, that was some quick thinking when Mom brought up Mrs. Reynolds. I figured that something might be said. So, I had been thinking about what to say, and that seemed to be the best story. Jason continued to dress at home. But Ronnie was unsuccessful in getting him to go out again. About 2 months later, Jason was home alone, and there was a knock at the door. He opened it. And it was Puppy, looking just like a little whipped puppy, and she asked, Is Ronnie home? No. Come on in. She'll be back in half an hour or so. No. I'll come back later. Amy. It's all right. You can come in and wait. You sure? Yes. Thanks. Amy came in and just sat in the living room. Jason could tell that something was wrong, very wrong, but he didn't pry. He offered her something to drink. She just shook her head no. He sat there with her, in silence. Jason finally heard Ronnie walk up to the door, and he got up to meet her. He gave her a kiss, and she asked, Is that Amy's car out front? Yeah. She got here about half an hour ago, and seems very depressed. She won't even talk to me. Ronnie's expression turned from one of happiness to see Jason, to one of concern. She walked into the living room, Amy looked up at her, and the tears started. Ronnie sat down next to her, and held her. Jason knew that it was best to leave the two girls alone, so he hid in the kitchen. It was better than an hour later when Ronnie and Amy walked into the kitchen, and all Ronnie said was, Men. What? Jason replied. You men are heartless. What did I do? You, nothing. But Ray broke up with Amy for no apparent reason. No reason whatsoever. No. He's even known all along that Amy was bi and didn't seem to care. And then today, he tells her that it's all over. No reason. No explanation. Yeah. I've got everything I own out in the car, Amy said. The apartment was his, so I just moved out. Do you have anywhere to go? Jason asked. Amy just shook her head no. And Jason added, Why don't you stay with us for a few days until you find a place? Ronnie looked at Jason, smiled, and mouthed, That's so sweet. I couldn't do that, Amy answered. Honey. You're like family. You're the sister I never had. So, our house is your house, Ronnie said. Come on. We'll help bring some of your things in, Jason added. Amy stayed for 4 days until she found a small apartment about a mile away. A few weeks later on a Saturday morning, Jason and Ronnie were sitting and eating breakfast. When Jason said, "Want to go out to dinner and a movie tonight?" "That would be fun," Ronnie replied. With a grin, Jason said, "Want to see if Jamie wants to go?" "Huh? Do you want to see if Jamie wants to go? You want to go out as Jamie?" "Yeah. I've been thinking about it, and I'd like to do it again. But maybe this time just a casual thing." Ronnie actually got a little excited that Jason had suggested this and said that would be fun. "Want to visit Linda and see what she can suggest for a casual look for you. I thought you could do it. Besides, it may be too short a notice. I could, but I kind of like her. And it might be good to see what she does for a casual look. Want me to call her?" Later that afternoon, Jason was again sitting in Linda's makeup chair. And Linda again started with the lip plumper and then without asking, went to work on his eyebrows. She cleaned them up, thinned them a little, and added a subtle arch even before the wig cap and tape. When she was all done, Jason had a very nice simple feminine look, not too much and not too little. And, as she was working on his wig, Linda said, "You know, I'm really jealous of you too." Ronnie asked, "Why?" "You have a fantastic relationship. You support his feminine side like, I don't know what. But, it's great. How did you two ever meet?" As Jason, now Jamie, was putting on a scooped neck blouse and slipping on a pair of tight, back zip, jeans, Ronnie told Linda the story of high school, France, the quick marriage, and him telling her of his crossdressing. Linda sat there in her makeup chair and just shook her head. Jamie looked at her and said, "What? I just wish I could find someone that was half accepting of me, as Ronnie is of you. There have to be more like her out there?" "You're right. But, remember, I'm a little bit different than you are." "I know. But, there has to be someone." Linda got up to answer the phone, and Ronnie said, "Think she might like to go with us tonight?" "She might," Jamie said. "Why?" "Well, I really do like her. And, she seems a little down." "Ah, the mothering instincts again." Ronnie just scowled at Jamie. When Linda came back, Ronnie asked, "You doing anything this evening?" "No," Linda replied. "Would you like to go to dinner and a movie with us?" "I couldn't impose." "I wouldn't have asked, if you were." "Well. Good. I'll take that as a yes." "Is she always this pushy?" Linda, with a wink and smile, asked Jamie. "Only if she wants her own way. Which is 99% of the time." Of course this got a dirty look from Ronnie and a vous payerez. "You'll pay." That's all for now. See you in the next video. For more interesting stories, please subscribe to our channel, and for exclusive content, please join us on Patreon. Link in the comment.